What's good, bro?
What's up?
We're chilling. Need more winners today.
Always.
Looks like we're getting some Rockies runs.
We are.
We're getting some Rockies runs. Okay. Dog. Chat, what's going on? How we doing? Positive energy today. Positive energy. Need it. I can't hit a bet to save my life. But you know what? Woke up early this morning, put my phone on Do Not Disturb, grinded in the lab from about 8 to 12-ish this morning. 4 hours for the early card. I'm out here hungry, ready to provide winners, spoon feeding them. I don't care. Shit talk me all you want. I deserve it. Better picks are coming. That's all I got to say. Better picks are coming. They're already coming in today. We got the over in this Rockies-Pirates game right now. Looks like they've already put up 3 runs in the second. We need more. Not good enough. We need more runs. Chat, how we doing? Let's get some W's in chat to get us started off right. We've got a big show today. Got my guy Javon on here as always, and got my guy Jared Smith coming in here in a couple minutes. Dude's an absolute betting wizard. Works for PicksWise. Sharp dude. Been around the industry for a while. We're going to go over a couple hot topics in MLB. We're going to go over a couple games today probably. We're going to go over his betting strategy. So I'm super stoked to have him on here. He should be on here any moment. I'm really excited. W's in the chat. Let's fucking go, boys. A lot of positive energy today. Winners only. I know the last couple of days have been tough. I'm throwing $500 on each bet, losing money every fucking play. I get it. Nothing we could do about it except get more winners today. Spend extra time in the lab, grinding, and giving out winners. That's all we're doing today. No bullshit. We're cutting the card down. Less bets, more winners. That's all I'm going to say about that. Javon, how about them Rays yesterday, bro? Your Rays are looking pretty darn good.
Yeah, they are. I mean, we pretty much own the Marlins anytime they come in Tampa, so I'm not surprised. Not at all. Or the Marlins whenever they come to Tampa, I mean. But, yeah, good to see us get to Pablo Lopez a little bit.
100%, dude. 100%. I'm sending Jared the link here via email. Usually I just text it to people, but that's okay. Let me get my guy right real quick. Hold on. But yeah, the Nats game yesterday. I am extremely hungover. Pretty cool to be on TV, I guess. Did not know those seats were going to be on TV. But was absolutely slugging whiskey gingers and ate about 3 bags of Cracker Jacks and lost $500 on the game. It happens. Officially banning the Nats. And I want to give me a second because I want to look at the camera when I say this so you guys know I'm legit. Banning the Nats. Nats are on the ban list. DC teams are on the ban list. I'm not letting my bias get to me anymore. That was a terrible bet. I'm sorry for anyone who took it with me. Josiah Gray did not have his stuff yesterday. He really struggles pitching at home, and I'm worried for him because if he can't pitch at home, that's half his games. He might not be able to pitch here. I'm rooting for the kid. He's got plenty of time to figure it out. I do think he will, but he really struggled yesterday. I mean, he got absolutely shelled. He's a fly ball pitcher. The wind wasn't even blowing out, but it sure as hell looked like it was. Trey Turner hitting bombs opposite field. That one hurt my soul. We got to Walker Buehler early, and then we absolutely melted away and lost by like 5 or 6. It was brutal. Absolutely brutal. It happens. No worries. No more Nats. No more Nats. You will not see the Nats on my card ever again. We're not betting them anymore. They're the worst team in baseball. Can't let the bias get to you. Can't bet on the home team. It doesn't work. I know you agree probably, Javon. I know you bet on the Rays a lot, but you usually pick your spots, and it probably helps that the Rays are a little bit better. They actually win baseball games, which is pretty cool. So that definitely helps a lot. The Nats stink. Brutal. But we move on to today. I'm not going to bet the Nats today, so they'll probably win in cash plus 200. So if anyone wants to go ahead and sneak bet it, feel free. Who do the Rays play today, or do they even play today?
Yeah, we're back against the Marlins. I mean, I probably get into it a little later, but I would love to eat the juice. Love to eat the juice on the spot on the Rays today.
100%, dude. 100%. I've got a couple plays I really like today too that we'll get to at the end, but I want to bring my guy Jared up here. He's ready to go, ready to roll, looking good behind the scenes. Super stoked to have him up here and talking some baseball and talking, how he bets. This dude's been around the block. He knows what he's doing. He's well respected. I'm super stoked to bring him in here. What's going on, Jared?
Krabs, love the set, man.
How we doing, bro?
You got the whiteboard and everything.
Oh yeah, literally in my kitchen.
You got to deal with the sink and the fridge and the appliances, but besides that,
a lot of stuff going on. I took my
making it work.
Took my roommates to the Nats game yesterday. Thanked them for turning our kitchen into a studio. We're moving out in a couple weeks, getting a house, so there'll be more room then. But we're making do out here. That's all we're doing. We're making plays. I'm out here making plays.
It's not going to work every day. Some days are going to be good. Some days are going to be bad. All you can do is put one foot in front of the other and just keep grinding, man.
Gosh, well, I need winners. I hope you got one up your sleeve for me today, man, because I am struggling. I
hope I got a couple. I hope I got a couple. We can get into some baseball winners if you want right out of the gate.
I mean, yeah, let's cut the shit and get down to business. What do you like today? Let's give the people what they want, Jared. Let's give them what they want.
So we got an afternoon game in Seattle, and I like Robbie Ray strikeout over 7.5. I also like the Oakland team total to stay under 1.5 in the first 5. And one thing that I like looking at a lot, and we don't get a ton of them every day, but we get a healthy amount of day games in baseball. I wish that there was one day game every day. Baseball schedule hasn't quite figured that out yet. But when we do get day games, it's important to look at the day-night splits, not only for the pitcher, but also the lineups. Baseball is a night sport. If you've been around the game a long time, you know that the guys like to go out. They like to hang out. They don't like to get to the ballpark early. Sometimes their routine is thrown off when they get to the ballpark early. So a lot of times with certain teams, with certain pitchers, you see drastic splits in day-night, average strikeout rate, whatever. And Oakland is one of those teams. 203 batting average and just 61 runs scored in 22 day games. That's about 3 per game. At night, it's 92 runs in 23 games, which jumps to 4+ and a 218 batting average. So a slight jump in batting average, but clearly they like to score more during the day, at night, and it's not a bigger sample size. So we'll go under 1.5 team total for Oakland. I got this at plus 103. It was a profit boost on DraftKings. It's like minus 140.
Hey.
I would still play it there, but obviously I like it less. And with Robbie Ray, it was like a hangover thing with him. So he started the reigning Cy Young winner. We all know that. Started the season off shitty, just like 6K per 9 in his first 4 starts. Last 5 starts back to his Cy Young form, over 12 strikeouts per 9 inning over his last 5, and he's gone over 7.5 in 3 straight. And he's got good numbers against this Oakland lineup. So I'm going to try to exploit this Oakland offense today in a day game with Robbie Ray, who actually has better numbers during the day than he does at night. And we'll go over 7.5 strikeouts in addition to that team total for the A's staying under.
Love it. Absolutely love that play. I'm on the Mariners minus 1.5 today. I think Robbie Ray goes out there and absolutely shoves. I'm hearing a lot of Blackburn talk. Blackburn, he's been great this year. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Blackburn's been one of the biggest surprises, in my opinion, of the season. He's finally healthy. He's put it together. He's absolutely shoving. But if he's absolutely shoving, and if Robbie Ray stinks like everyone's saying he is, and they're not actually looking into how he's pitched his last couple starts, take away that one pitch he threw to Trevor Story in that last game, he threw a 1-run ball game and wins that game against the Red Sox, but that one pitch changed everything. Then why is the line minus 180 to the Mariners? If Robbie Ray is so bad and if Blackburn is so good, they're talking about he's the biggest trade piece by the deadline. I'm like, guys, it's Paul Blackburn. It's the Athletics. Have you seen this lineup? I know the Mariners have underperformed. They've lost me a ton of money this year already. I know it's in there. I know it's coming. I know Robbie Ray's got it. He won the Cy Young last year. He's slowly but surely figuring it out. I think he goes out there and dominates today. I'm on the Mariners minus 1.5. Might be my favorite play of the day. Definitely my favorite play of the early card, for sure. Yeah, for sure. I think when you look at a pitcher that is as good as Robbie Ray is, and the numbers haven't backed it up yet, now maybe something's wrong with him injury-wise. That's something that we'll have to assess as we go forward. But the numbers in baseball, eventually everything either positively or negatively regresses back to the mean because the sample size is so big. So when you look at pitchers that are starting slow, especially the Cy Young Award winner from last year,
you would think eventually he's going to start pitching better. And we've seen it late, which is why I'm really confident in this one today.
I'm with you. I am with you 100%. I know we've got a live Rockies-Pirates game, so a little late for people to get in on that one. I'm on the over in that one.
Did we get a Yurfie there? We did get a Yurfie there, did we? No, did we get a first inning? Colorado scored early, but I don't know if they scored.
We got a Yurfie.
Second inning,
they put up a 3-piece. Rockies up 3-0. We should have taken the Rockies. I don't know why that line was so short with how well Thompson's been pitching recently. Thompson walked out there on the mound with the beer belly and looked like he might have drank a six-pack before the game today. So as soon as I saw that, I was not worried about the Pirates today at all. We should have been on the Rockies at plus money here. I know they had a random dude up on the mound, but the fact that line was so short tells you that was probably the right side. A little bit of a trap there. I like the over. We'll see if they finish off the job because, gosh, every time these teams play, the game's super low scoring. That's kind of why I like the over because it actually bounced up from 7.5 the last couple games and then to 8 today. I was like, that's kind of weird with the wind blowing in too. So I'm expecting more runs. We'll see how it plays out. It's on TV. I don't know if you've heard or bought into my little Krabs conspiracy I've got going on where they use the good baseballs for these TV games, but I am a full believer in it at this point. Every time I put a game on TV, I see 10, 15 runs, and every time I check the score on my phone of a game that's not on TV, I see 3 or 4 runs in the game. So I don't know what's going on. Rob Manfred, I'm on to you. Something's up. Jared, do you think there's something going on with the baseballs? Is MLB toying with it, tinkering with games? What do you think, my dude?
I can tell you what I've heard from my insider source that covers one of the teams in the locker room.
Okay.
And he gets, very mixed results every day about the baseballs. Inconsistent is the word that he used, that the players are using to describe it. And I don't think it's to take it as far as a conspiracy theory. I think what's happening is baseballs are being changed. They are in the process of changing them, but the process at each stadium. So for example, if you want to think of it like manufacturing, a product gets made at a plant overseas somewhere, and then it gets shipped here to the US, and then it gets distributed and sold in stores. Well, maybe one store, the box gets, shaken up a little bit as it's getting moved into the aisles. And that's what's happening. So the baseballs are getting made at some random spot, and then they're being shipped to the stadiums. At the stadiums, there's the humidors, there's the way that they're doctored up, et cetera, et cetera. They're inconsistent at each site. So depending on what stadium you're at and what day it is, it might be a different baseball. And that is not like a different actual baseball, but just the inconsistencies of how they're doctoring them up and getting them however baseball wants them is just it's not a uniform procedure just yet. So it's hard to bet on that because you don't really know which day you're going to get which ball. But I am hearing that is probably the reason why scoring is down in Major League Baseball, is because the baseballs are being changed and they're not consistent with the process throughout. So it's an issue. The players have complained about it. There's no real solution. And as a bettor, not really much you can do. You just have to stick to your guns and just hope that you got the good baseballs that day if you're betting it over, and vice versa if you're betting it under. But it's definitely something that's been talked about a lot in the locker rooms this year.
I know I can't really talk because I literally just bet an over on the game that we're watching right now. But I've been really picky with totals so far. I think for good reason. I think, if the baseballs are dead in the game, the baseballs are dead in the game. And I know it's not like, the whole batch of good baseballs are sent here or a whole batch of bad baseballs are sent here. It's like a whole mixed bag, right? Like the pitcher will get a ball one time and it's good. And then that ball will go hit foul. And then, he gets another ball and he's like, well, this one's shitty. There's inconsistencies with the ball. I mean, a couple years ago, Rawlings changed the seams to make them just a little bit thinner, or I think it was actually a little bit thicker, like 1/8 of a centimeter thicker or something like that. It's because they changed distributors for where they got the seams. They didn't think it mattered. I watched like a 20-minute YouTube video on this the other night. I think it's so interesting. They changed the seams and they did not think it was going to matter. They were just minusculely, a little bit bigger. And that's when all those pitchers started getting those blisters. And they were complaining about the balls. So even the smallest changes, like the cowhide, let's say they run out of freaking cows from where they usually get the balls and they're pulling cows from somewhere else. That could affect the ball. They change the corks around inside the ball sometimes. So baseball, I can't tell if they're doing it on purpose or if it's literally just a supply chain thing, just like, any other business, and they just can't control it or don't even care. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think it's malicious. I think, for example, they can't figure out replay. They can't figure out the baseball. Like, it's not a new thing that baseball struggles with modernization of their game. That is not a new original story to this year. Right. That is years of stubborn old people not wanting to change rules and 100%. Not understanding how to adapt to new rules and implement them in a seamless way. That is literally, if you like the last 50 years of baseball, when the DH was originally introduced, free agency back in the 70s, they had no idea how to figure it out. There was guys running all over the place. It's a constant issue with baseball modernization, and that's why it's becoming, in my opinion, the third most popular sport in America when it used to be the most popumost sport. Hockey and soccer right on their tail. So it's been an issue in baseball for years, and the baseballs are just the most recent notch in the belt of baseball modernization having problems.
Yep. Baseball's, I mean, like you said, this has been going on forever, right? For the past, since Babe Ruth. When Babe Ruth, this was in the YouTube video I was watching too. When Babe Ruth came up, home runs were so low, and then they changed the baseballs when he started, hitting his prime, and he beat the home run record by 20 home runs or whatever it was. So this stuff's been going on for literally hundreds of years. I don't think it's going to change. I don't know if it's on purpose. I think it's a cool conspiracy, and I'm interested to see, what happens. I don't think anything's going to happen because the players have already complained. We heard Bassett after a game, complain about how the pitchers have no control of these balls. That's why everyone's getting hit so much this year. They've been complaining about it, forever, and nothing's going to change. So I guess the only advice betting wise I'd give is be careful, betting totals. I still bet them. I'm very picky with them, and bet more lines than, stuff that makes sense. Because I think, you never really know if you're getting the juice baseballs or not. You just don't know. And let's hope, I don't know if anyone in chat tailed my over in this game. Let's hope we get some Pirates banks here. Chat, let me know if you guys are tailing this over in this first game. We could really use a Pirates hit here. I don't know if you guys saw the Giants-Mets game last night, but I know it was late, but absolutely electric. I had the Giants, and that was my only win of the day yesterday, which is absolutely absurd. But thank goodness they pulled it out. I thought it was toast. I honestly went to bed, woke up, saw a winner. So thank goodness. But I saw that Jock Peterson, who's kind of been struggling, kind of been hurt, him and Lamont Wade, who's a Maryland kid, got to shout him out. They were talking with Barry Bonds a ton before the game. And Jock Peterson said he had the best conversation he's ever had related to baseball before the game. And then he goes out there and hits 3 home runs and wins the game for them and looks locked in. So Barry Bonds, shout out to you for helping cash last night. You're the man. Put Barry Bonds, put him in the Hall of Fame. I'm cool with that after last night. He got me a winner. Put Barry Bonds in the Hall of Fame. I'm cool with it now. Crazy game last night. Tons of runs. I know the Phillies hitting coach, Kevin Long, who used to be the Nationals hitting coach. He came out and said when the Phillies, went over there and played LA in that series, the 4-game series, a week or two ago, when there was just a ton of runs, he was like, these baseballs are just different out here. They're absolutely juiced. Yeah. And the runs are flying. So it's maybe the baseballs made their way out to San Francisco. They're still out there on the West Coast. I don't know, because the game was 11-12 last night, but I'm here for it. I was a hitter growing up. I'm here for all the action, all the runs. I just wish I saw more consistency, but I thought that was really cool to hear, MLB Network and everyone gassing up Barry Bonds for helping out Jock yesterday. Barry Bonds, steroids aside, the dude still knew how to hit beforehand. The dude's a legend of the game. He's a stud. I think, I don't know what your guys' opinions are of him, but very cool to see him, talking with some Giants yesterday and helping them get a win. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, I think when you look at a franchise like the Giants, it's such a storied franchise, and they bring in players like last year it was Longoria and Gossman, who kind of revitalized his career and then went out to Toronto. That's the infrastructure of a team that that doesn't show up in a box score when you look to bring in a big time free agent. That's something that you don't think about, Barry Bonds is going to be talking to him. Like with the Yankees, it's they've got a million of those guys that come back and talk to the current players, and it's interesting to see teams that build the chemistry and have that infrastructure because they can go through times where maybe the overall talent isn't that good. And if you ask me, are the Giants like a very talented team? Like, no, I wouldn't put them in that category. They're a veteran-laden team that understands how to be a professional, and that wins in baseball a lot. And that's why I bet their team total, their season win total under this year at 85.5, just expecting some regression after last year, but we haven't seen it yet. It's still early in the year. We're only about the third quarter of the way done. But they are a team that just gets the most out of guys that you don't expect them to get the most out of sometimes. And that is a very valuable thing. From a betting perspective, also very valuable, because a lot of times those things aren't accounted for in the daily line. So the Giants are a team that's dangerous, and they're a veteran team, again, that probably needs another ace or two to really pitch. Although, that being said, Carlos Rodon, again, talking about a guy that they bring over and kind of revitalizing, reshaping his career a little bit in a new environment, a positive environment. And they get the most talent out of guys that you wouldn't expect to get the most out of. And I think that's because of all of those things you're talking about that go on behind the scenes.
100%. I mean, it matters in baseball, right? Javon, you see it with your Rays, right? The Rays don't have as much money as most teams, but they're the best well-run organization in baseball, maybe the best well-run organization in all sports. Yeah. And they win games, and that took them very far last year. It matters a lot in baseball, especially with the salary cap, or no salary cap, sorry. The better-run teams are going to have more success, players aside. Look at the Yankees. They've had all the best players the last couple of years, and they haven't done anything because they run the team like a bunch of bozos. And that's why they haven't won a World Series in 13 years with the second highest payroll on average. So we'll see if that turns around. And Jared, I don't want to talk any more trash about a Yankee team before I find out if you're a Mets or Yankees fan, because I know you're from Jersey. Are you Mets or are you Yanks?
I am a Yankees fan, but I'm not one of those. Okay. I'm not one of those fans of. And I think we can, if you want to steer the conversation back to more overall gambling stuff. To me, betting on my teams has never been an issue for me because I have an objective, realistic view of the world, and I know when I actually think I'm better off betting my team because I feel like I know them better. And as a gambler, the longer that I've been in this world, the less of a fan I've become. Okay. Where, sure, if the Yankees win the World Series, I'll be excited. It'll be great. I'll tweet about it. Hey, yay, go Yankees. But my inner child is not as excited as it used to be 10, 15 years ago. For example, I've covered the Yankees in New York working for local TV, and they weren't very nice to me when I was working in the media relations. So when you see how the sausage is made a little bit, you become less of a fan, and we're in this every day. We see the grind every day. I am way less of a New York sports fan today than I was 10 years ago. There's no doubt about that in my mind because I've been through a lot of highs and lows behind the scenes with these teams, and it's just you lose a little bit of that boyish childhood fandom, I guess, when you kind of been through the battles and the wars.
100%, man. 100%. Do you believe in the Yankee tax? Do you think that's a thing? And have you heard about that, or do I need to explain that? I'm sure you have. Yeah. Do you think that's a real thing? You think that's a real thing? Do you think that's a thing for other teams too, like the Dodgers or the teams that have been dominant the last couple of years? Do you believe
Dodgers?
In that?
Yes. Dodgers, yes. Yankees, yes. I think that's probably where it ends in terms of like obvious, like every week. I think it's more pronounced in the NFL because quarterback. Because unlike baseball, I guess it's starting pitcher. It is starting pitcher dependent. That's why sometimes the Yankees are underdogs because of whoever's on the mound.
Right.
But in the NFL, I think it's more pronounced with Patrick Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers because that one position, like the starting pitcher in baseball, holds so much weight on the betting line. So when you get a guy like Mahomes, you are paying at least a point or two more than you normally would. And that is going to take into account when you're handicapping games. Absolutely.
And I don't know how Mahomes and the Chiefs did against the spread last year. I know the Packers were incredible. The Packers were incredible. I know that they were like, there was a point in the season, I think, where they were like 10-0 against the spread. It was costing me some coins. So although I 100% agree with you that the lines definitely, favor, quarterbacks like that, I 100% agree. There's like a Yankee tax for guys like that, for sure. I guess it didn't end up even working for the books there because Aaron Rodgers still went out there and did his thing and proved everyone wrong. So
correct. That doesn't mean that team's going to lose against the number. But you just have to account for it when you're when you're making your mental calculations.
100%. As we see a double play in the Pirates game. Nice. Okay, the Red Sox. So if you're a Yankees fan, I know you say you're not too biased, but are the Red Sox back? Are they legit? I personally thought that they overperformed last season. And, they got off to that slow start this year. And I was like, okay, this is the Red Sox team that I kind of expected. But after looking into them a little bit more and watching them recently, they have had a really tough schedule to start the year. Their stats, they've got a bunch of guys who have great stats offensively, and they've got some old pitchers who are overperforming. One of them going tonight, with Rich Hill and Waka, who's had a rejuvenation, right?
Yeah.
Evaldi, who's been pretty darn good for them this year, minus a starter too. These guys, I think, are overperforming, and the Red Sox scare me a little bit. I wouldn't want to play this team. They're fun. They're definitely trendy at this point, so I don't want to be going anywhere near betting them. Where's your head at with this Red Sox team, team-wise and also betting-wise going forward over the next week?
I think they're a team to look out for. Their wins above replacement numbers on offense and defense are average. They're in a division that's also very difficult. I think Toronto's the best team in the division. I just think they're a little young. I think Toronto's going to be the team that trends up steadily throughout the course of the season. They also had a really tough schedule to start the season. And I think the Yankees, I think we've seen the best of the year.
Bomb. Bang. Rockies bang. Sorry, Jared. Didn't mean to interrupt you, but got to let the people know. That should have been a 2-run home run, but we'll take one. Keep going, though, Jared. And I'm with you. I think the Red Sox I think Toronto will definitely trend up towards the end of the year. They're young. They're going to start figuring it out, but keep going.
Yeah, CJ Cron, nice bang. Wow, he's got 12 home runs this year.
On the road. CJ Cron just did something on the road. Good for him. If you look at his splits home and away. They're disgusting. Really? So good for him.
I was interested in Boston to start the year because they did start really poorly and then the numbers shifted. But again, they play in a division that they are going to be challenged by New York and Toronto. And Tampa, frankly. I think Tampa's been a little bit down this year, but the overall talent in Tampa is still really strong, and you don't have to say that about New York or Toronto. I think if you were going to ask me, if I had to, stock pick the AL East, I'd say trending up, buy low, Toronto, sell high, New York. Boston and Tampa, I'm kind of neutral on. I feel like there's upside in both. I think Boston's got better, upside talent, and Tampa Bay is probably the more consistent team. Maybe Boston's a little more volatile. Baltimore, you're going to have games where you just, you have to throw them out, but they're going to have some pretty good wins too because they've got a young up and coming team and they're starting to get aggressive with bringing their talent up, where in prior years they haven't done that. This year they are doing that midseason, which is interesting and kind of a shift in their way of thinking. But I think Tampa and Boston are kind of Toronto's a buy and New York's a sell.
Toronto's definitely a buy right now, and I'm with you that the Yankees are. I mean, the Yankees stock really couldn't be any higher than it is right now. They just put Chapman on the IL too. I mean, that dude's he's given up a run in the last 5 appearances, which he's never done in his career. He's looking a little shaky. They just put him on the IL. They lost Chad Green for the year, which is really bad for them.
Tough.
I mean, it's the Yanks. They'll go out and go get an arm or 2 or 3 or 4 or something. I will not be shocked, but I'm with you. Their stock won't be this high the whole year. They're the best team in baseball right now. People are saying so. I'm with you.
I don't think they are the best team in baseball.
I don't.
They are the furthest to that.
You want to hear what my power rankings were real quick? I made them on Monday. Let me see if I can find them. I got Dodgers at 1. I think they're the greatest team ever made. And then I had Yanks, Astros, Padres, and Mets.
Astros are a team. I think I asked my insider if he picked the World Series today. He said Astros and Dodgers. This was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, 100%.
Hard not.
They're so good, and they haven't played that well yet. Their offense really didn't do much the first month of the year. The last week or two, they've really started to come on strong. And I don't know what their number is now to win the West. I'm guessing it's still odds on. It's odds on -240. I mean, listen, I think the Angels are a really tough team, and they've got some really good players. Seattle, Texas, and Oakland are light years away. Unlike the other divisions in the American League where, good luck picking the American League East. You can make a case for all 4 of the teams besides Baltimore. In the American League Central, I think Minnesota's better than Chicago. but I think Cleveland's sneaky good, and I wouldn't rule out Cleveland completely. In the American League West, it's Houston, and then there's a big gap between them and the rest of the division. So that's the only division in the American League where I feel confident today saying the Astros are winning the division, period, close the book. I'm not even worried about how the rest of the season plays out.
Yeah. I mean, they're doing this all with some pretty inconsistent performances from the bottom of their rotation, too. I mean, you look at Urquidy, he's on and off for the most part bad. Javier, nobody knows what you're going to get from that guy at a given start. He's either god-awful or he looks like number one ace. So, I mean, they're doing all this. Look really good. Verlander, obviously, everybody's talked about him. That guy looks absolutely incredible. I think I think he's looked damn near as good as he's ever been.
Yeah, he's looked okay.
Yeah,
he's literally. This might be the best I've ever seen Verlander look, which makes zero sense. He's 39 years old. I don't think I've ever seen him look this good. Which is, I mean, maybe I got to go back and watch the tape for when he was prime in the Tigers, and his stuff was probably better. But the dude is
a year off. He took a year off.
Yep.
Which
that's even more impressive though. That's even more impressive because he's coming off of Tommy John and he's 39. I feel like him coming back at this sharp already. Would I have expected Verlander to be sharp by the end of the year once he figures it out? 100%. But already, right out of the gate, coming out this good, scary. So if his arm can stay on his body, I mean, and they also got Lance McCullers, who's going to be coming back at some point soon. They could really use him at the back end of that rotation.
Great point.
Yeah.
Really
so I'm with you. That Astros team, I cannot stand them. They're cheaters, whatever, but they're pretty darn good.
Everyone cheats. The Yankees are just as big of a cheaters as them. Like the hypocrite in all of us needs to point the finger at literally every team in baseball has been cheating, and the Astros just got caught. That was really the only difference.
Just like with the Patriots, I'm sure everyone in the NFL was doing that stuff too. They just pushed the boundaries a little bit.
They pushed the boundaries just quite far to where they were caught. And Houston did that, and they were caught. Now, the optics of it is bad because banging on trash cans and all the it's bad optics. But I bet if you really got the info from all 30 teams, all of them were doing something like that.
100%. Yeah, I don't disagree at all. Is Pena better than Correa? Maybe not right now, but is this guy Pena on the Astros? Do you guys think he's legit? I definitely do.
I think he's legit. I have an opinion there. Jovan, you can take that one.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think he's legit. I mean, production-wise, he's pumping out similar numbers to what Correa was giving them, but I feel like, as an organization, as a team, I think Correa brought so much to that team as a leader and a voice, which really hurts to say because I can't stand the guy. But, I mean, he brought so much to that team. Pena's been a really nice addition, though, for them. And he's been probably one of the most consistent parts in their offensive part of, their bigger names.
I think he's going to win Rookie of the Year.
Very underrated player.
Yep, I think he's going to win Rookie of the Year. We'll have to see. Should have bet it before the season. The value's not really there anymore. But, yeah, very cool. The Astros are legit. I don't care, cheating or not. I'm with you. Every team does cheat, so – it is what it is. Now, I want to pivot to the D-backs a little bit. This team, talk about the trendiest team in baseball. They're probably the trendiest team to bet on right now. People are actually finally saying this team is good. People are betting on them. Yesterday, everyone was saying Zach Gallen is the guy. Zach Gallen's a stud. Don't get me wrong. He's a dog. I was on the Royals +1.5, so I had my fucking soul sucked out of my body there. But I do not want to go anywhere near touching the D-backs over the next week or so. Betting wise, I think they're going to be the trendiest, one of the most bet on teams over the next week or so. But very impressive start to the season for them. They've had a very tough schedule, and they're a game above 500. Where's your head at with this D-backs team? Do you think they're legit? And betting wise for the next week or so, are you staying away or are you hopping on board?
I don't think they're legit. I just pulled up the ROI numbers. They actually have the third highest money line ROI in baseball this year.
Who's the top five?
San Diego, Minnesota, Arizona, Houston, Mets. Okay. That shouldn't surprise you. None of the other teams surprise me. San Diego's been great. Saw a great stat today. One of the cappers I follow dropped the nugget that they're 12-2 on the money line after a loss, 10-0 in their last 10, and they lost last night. So Padres money line, if you like the trends, is a pretty trendy pick tonight. And they've been the most profitable team in baseball this year on the money line at 20%-ish ROI. Minnesota, too, is another one of those teams I'm very high on. and I bet their over win total 79.5 preseason. And I mean, it's going to take probably Buxton and Correa missing the whole year for that not to hit. Honestly, I think Minnesota. I think if they win that division, I think Buxton has a case for MVP. Shohei should win it. Ohtani should be the MVP. But from what I hear from the writers that vote for it, Buxton's overall numbers, offense, defense, special teams, base running, all that crap put into the stew together makes him a very intriguing candidate to an MVP. I got that at 30-1 preseason. I think it's like 15 or 20-1 now. It wasn't a terrible bet.
Now his average is down. His average is down right now. He's hitting around 211, but he has been a little bit hurt. That number is going to go up. But he's been doing
it's the wins above replacement that you got to look at because he does so much on the defensive side, base running. He made a play in center field last night that he's probably the only guy in baseball that makes that play. But I'm not that high on Arizona. Again, they play in a really tough division against the Dodgers and the Giants, and I don't feel like they have. So I went to a game out there when I was in Arizona, and it was all Mets fans at the game. Like they have no home field advantage. It's not a fun place to play. The one thing they do have going for them is when teams go there in the summertime, it is a total
climate humid, right? It's humid as shit. Really it's hot. They're probably tired. Yeah.
Yeah, like it's when you go to Arizona, if you're not used to that climate, they probably get some bad performances by starting pitchers subpar because of the climate. Now they can close the roof, and they do close the roof a lot, but that makes the balls, when the roof's open, the balls fly. When the roof's closed, it's more of an under team. So they're a quirky team to bet on because they play in a very unique climate, and they have a retractable roof, which means half of their games when the roof is open play very differently than when the roof is closed. And that's definitely something to keep in mind before you bet them. If you can get that information, if you follow people that work for the team or, follow the beat reporters that can let you know if the roof's open or closed. That's a vital piece of information. But I'm not very high on Arizona, other than Zach Gallen, who I love, who I think is a Cy Young candidate. I'm not very on Arizona as a team. They've got a lot of scrubs in that lineup too. It is not.
I know, but they keep performing, which makes no sense. The top of the lineup is pretty good, but I'm with you. The back of the lineup is sketch. They need Carson Kelly to come back. They need him to come back right because he really struggled earlier this year. He was hitting like 100 and had like 1 RBI, got hurt. He even said like maybe this is a good thing, get a little mental break, come back strong. That dude's going to be good. Pirates are making moves right now. They've got second and third, no outs. We need some runs from the Pirates. Come on, chat. We need some runs from the Pirates. I know you guys are on this. But that does make me kind of want to transfer to the next part. The main thing I wanted to talk with you, because you've been around the block, right? You know what you're doing, Jared. You know what you're doing. You know how to bet. I'm impressed, to see your method. I kind of want to know, you just brought up the roof thing, right? I want to know a couple, MLB, tidbits, tips, betting processes that you do, stuff that you look at. If you want to run through, your typical morning of what you're looking at. I don't know if you want to spill your secret sauce or not, but would love to just hear you talk for a couple of minutes about, your process and any tips you've got for the squad.
I appreciate that because some days I feel like I'm a jackass doing this because you look like a jackass some days doing this. Everyone looks. If you meet a gambler in the Twitter space, in the social media space, and he acts like he's never lost and doesn't talk about his losses or doesn't, have any humility about, his process, that's someone you should stay away from because those people are usually feeding you lies. I think my process starts very early in the morning. So I do a show at 10 a.m. Eastern on PicksWise. And we have to be ready to go for that show. And that's difficult for certain sports. Baseball, it's not as difficult because the pitching rotations are set. And for the most part, who's starting when you wake up in the morning. The most difficult sport to bet on with the morning show is the NBA. There's no doubt about that because you just have no idea who's playing in these games before they start. I use probably the same websites you guys do to do my prep. It's not secret sauce. I think everyone has their own method and everyone has their own way of thinking. And I think that way of thinking is what makes you unique as a handicapper. The stats that I find on Fangraphs and Baseball Savant, those are available to everybody. That doesn't make me special. I think what makes my process unique is I can compute a lot of angles and narratives in my head and try to find the right script to, predict how the game's going to play out. And a lot of it too is just experience. I've been betting on baseball now since I was 16. I'm 36. So, it's been 20 years, not of, strong gambling. I would say the last 5 years has really been process, consistency, waking up every day and doing the same thing, especially the last 2 to 3 years where I've really dedicated this to my full-time job. But I worked in sports broadcasting for years. I worked in college athletics. I worked in minor league baseball. So I've traveled with teams. I've seen what life on the road is like. I know people that work with teams. I use those sources as much as I can, not every day, but big picture. And I just try to be smart and logical about everything that I do. Are there days where I fire off an 18 parlay, throw $10 on it because I'm bored? Sure, absolutely. Sure. And don't let anyone in the gambling Twitter media space call you a bad gambler for doing that. You're not. That's called entertainment. People spend thousands of dollars to go spelunking and cliff diving and skiing. There's nothing wrong with waking up and throwing $20 on a ridiculous, absurd 18 parlay that has little to no chance of hitting because you're in the mood to feel something. Do not let anybody shame you for that. Should you be shoving your whole bankroll on that? Of course, absolutely not. But there is a lot of negativity in our space right now about doing things the right way, and you have to bet this. No, do whatever the hell you want that makes you feel good about yourself. Everyone has their own process. Everyone has their own way of thinking. Certain people do it better than others, but there's nothing wrong with making a bad bet. I do them all. I make bad bets all the time. Sometimes they win, most of the time they lose, but we always have fun. But my process is really
Pirates bang, Pirates bang, Pirates bang, Pirates bang.
And look at you, bud. See, maybe I should
your process is good.
Pirates keep scoring runs. 4-2 in the third. You're feeling good about this one, huh? But there's really nothing that unique about my process. I think from a lot of other cappers you see in the space, a lot of the data that we use is the same. We cross-reference a lot of our plays. Like I reach out to people all the time. We've discussed Krabs. You and I discussed games and angles that we like. It's all about gathering information and then using your own personal risk tolerance to hit submit. If Krabs gives out a bet to you guys and it loses, it ain't Krabs' fault that it lost. And it ain't Krabs' fault that you click submit on the bet. So that's the part of this space that I'm looking to be a champion of in the next 5 to 10 years as it continues to grow, because it is going to continue to grow. The engagement around sports betting is unbelievable. You can't find a sporting event now where there is not engagement around the betting space, and it's only going to continue to get bigger. So I think with that, there's risk of addiction, there's risk of burnout, there's risk of shaming and trolling and bullying, and that is, I think, is where someone who has had experience in it, who is a positive, I like to think I'm a positive, person, can help, because there's a lot of negativity out there right now. So my advice to anyone out there that's looking to get into this or has started to get into this and wants to continue to do it, start small, follow people that you like. You don't care if they look smart or sound smart. You like them, because that's how you're going to engage, and that's how you're going to branch out and build a network. And then just have some fun. Odds are you're not going to win. The odds are against you winning. So don't go into this thinking you're going to get rich. Have fun, enjoy yourself, but also try to surround yourself with positive, smart, logical influencers that can bring you to a more logical and better conclusion with how you wager every day.
100%. If we hit every bet we took, we wouldn't be here. We'd be on an island right now, drinking margaritas, doing none of this stuff. I'm not saying there's a reason we're doing this. That's because we have to do it to make money to bet or whatever. But nobody's perfect. I love everything you just said. Any capper who says they don't ever lose or go through a rough patch, that's cap. Everyone does. If someone on Twitter or social media if someone out there is saying they never lose, well, that's a lie. And if they did never lose, they probably wouldn't be on Twitter posting their picks. They'd be just sending bets all the time. So keep that in mind. I'm with you. Positivity, that definitely needs to be something that needs to be addressed. I think it's a very negative and trolling community. It is what it is. People can say whatever they want, free speech, all that stuff. But it's definitely good to, stay positive. Cause like you said, you're not supposed to win. The odds are against you. There's a reason stuff is -110, -115. The house always wins. They're always going to win. So you got to find people that you trust, find people that you like, ride the bets that, you like, do your own research.
Yeah, exactly.
My guy Dilberto always says, do your own research. Maybe don't just blindly tell everyone's plays. And I think I need to do a better job instead of just telling people to take all my plays and being more open like that and saying, do your own research, click the button at your own risk, right? Because at the end of the day, it's your money and it's down to you pushing the button, right? It's not me pushing the button for you. And I could not agree more with you there.
Yeah.
I'm with you, man. And talk about an unsaturated market. The sports betting industry, it's only going to continue to grow. So find people that you like, tell them when you want, do your own research. But I'm super excited to see, where this community and where the sports gambling industry, continues to go and push, because it's only up from here. It's going to continue to grow year after year. Every state, multiple states are going to become legalized. And I'm really excited to see the direction it goes in.
There's a lot of really smart people that do this every day. The issue is those people tend to not want too much attention. And I've made this, like, you could tell there's a divide right now on social media for sure between people that have done this every day for years and now are seeing other people that haven't done it every day for years trying to do it in a way that they don't like. And you're getting now all of those really smart, sharp, professional bettors moving into the media space. But the irony with that is, by doing that and giving away their plays and their processes, they are inherently becoming the same people that they despise, which are the media people that don't have an edge to begin with. When you go on camera and you start giving out your processes and your plays, you are giving away your edge. So there is a divide right now between the sharps and the recreational bettors that do the media every day about the way that they do. Ignore it. Ignore all of the noise. You look at what's inside your heart and your head and be like, how do I want to go about my life? That's the process that you follow. There's people out there for everyone. It's, there's a smart person out there that understands gambling, that can connect with anyone. Some people like certain things. Some people like to go to McDonald's. Some people like to go to Burger King. There's nothing wrong with anyone's style. It's about finding the right style for you. And that's why I think you guys are doing a great thing here at Book It. You have a lot of different voices, a lot of different styles, and you bring them all together into a community, and then you talk about it. That's how you effectively change and you grow. Not by putting others down and by saying my process is better than yours. Don't listen to this person. Listen to that. Ignore all that noise. Ignore all that bullshit. Do what's right by you and have fun. For the love of God, we're watching sports and betting on it for a living. Have some fucking fun.
100%.
That's what it's all about, right?
100%, man.
100%.
I'll use a corny Trent quote, and then we'll go to Javon. But oh gosh, what was I about to say? Javon, you go first. I do have a good quote though.
Yeah, I mean, I was just talking about kind of how recreational bettors and kind of the people that don't describe themselves as handicappers, or people who think, the people who kind of tail the handicappers. I think a lot of the process in itself, when you're talking about do your own research, I feel like a lot of people go in with kind of preconceived notions of what they want to find from the research, and they're not exactly open-minded in trying to find, looking for edges, looking for value, any of that. I think that's a part where, as a community, people need to improve, probably everybody in here, myself included, because that's really a big part, being open-minded, not just in what you're looking for in a bet, but what you're looking to hear from other people. Just overall, I think people need to be more receptive to more perspectives than their own, because I think that's how you grow as a bettor, grow as a person in the community, grow in your knowledge, all that. So that's,
it's all about growth. And I think, there's a lot of people out there that don't like certain other people. And there's a lot of negativity that goes around with it. It's just a lot of conflict where I think, and I don't want to make it anything about politics or current events, but I think there's a correlation to
it doesn't help. Yeah.
All that BS does not help. Years of what we've all been through and the amount of negativity that exists in our little community. I hope to be a champion of positivity and growth and change. That's one of the reasons why I love my current job is they care, but they don't care if I don't adhere to the traditional. We want to be different. We want to be new. We want to be fun. That is what sports betting is. There's an old school approach to sports betting that is plus EV, grinding out 1 unit, daily bets, and just making your living that way. And there is nothing wrong with that way of life. That is a old school Vegas style of gambling that has been popular for years. It has now evolved into groups of bettors that get that plus EV number and just keep betting it over and like hundreds of bets a day at different books. And it's a very effective style, but that's not reality. The average person that consumes daily sports betting content does not have a group of bettors that have connections all over town that can go to this book and go to that book. They open up their laptop or their phone and they pull up the games for the day. And they're like, I like this team. Boom. And they want easy. They want relatable. They want to hear from people that they can actually see themselves getting a beer with, watching that game and sweating out a bet with. And again, the divide is not right or wrong. The old school sharps that go about this in their way every day, they're not wrong for saying that we're making bad bets. They're right. But just because I smoke, say I want to smoke a cigarette, I know I'm making a bad health choice. But how many cigarettes get sold every day? Same thing with alcohol. Like moderation and understanding your audience is the future of sports gambling content. You have to be able to understand that our audience is not the sharp bettors that already know the information. They're the average public Joe that wants to have some fun and bet a few bucks on a game. And that's why we're having success doing things differently than what the smart, sharp, professional bettor would recommend every day to make money at this. It's a weird divide in the community right now. And we'll see if things come together in the future. But because of the explosion of people that are now betting for the first time, it's a dangerous time in sports. People can do damage if they give out reckless advice, i.e. 10-unit lock wager, whale plays. But as long as you're being honest with yourself about your end goal, which is to have a little fun, maybe make a little money, but really at the end of the day to be entertained, I think there's a space here for everyone.
100%, Jared. And the quote I was trying to think of, Trent's quote, is "It's us against the books," and it's corny. But 100%, it's all of us against the books. The books they're smarter. They got, crazy algorithms they're running. They've got, people on salary paid to set lines to get us to bet on the wrong shit. So, us as a community, it's a new community. I mean, we've all been betting for a while, right? Whether it's legal or not. But, now that it's illegal, it's opened up a whole new door to, more people coming into the community and betting. It's all of us, against the books, to be completely honest with you. And we got to, work together to find edges. Javon, I could not agree more. Communication is key. I think, the spaces that we run, talking about games, collaborating, I'm giving my crazy, conspiracy contrarian takes. You guys are giving your more realistic, actual, real life takes. I think, that communication is huge, right? And you're right. We all have to be more open and listen, because at the end of the day, all you got to do is just click the right button on the screen. That's how you win a bet. You could be so right on a bet. It could be a 10U play. You've been looking at it all week, and it's up 5-0 early. You get to the 9th inning, you're ready for it to cash. You're super stoked. You're looking online for shit you're about to buy. And then the team gives up 6 runs at the top of the inning and you lose. That's what's so great about betting. And I know that's crazy to say following that, but that's what's so crazy about sports, not just betting, is that it's raw. Anything could happen, and it's inconsistent. And I think that's what makes it so pure, is that you don't know what's going to happen. Anything could happen. There's no such thing as a 10U whale max lock. I learned that the hard way. Giving out a couple 5U plays that just did not hit. And I've learned, and that's why, I focus more on just 1-unit plays, because I think that's, a better representation and less risk, right? And that's for me, and that's for giving out plays too. So I've learned so much from guys like you, Jared, over the past, couple years, more than I've ever learned in my betting history. When I used to just open up my laptop and just click random buttons and then be like, I like this team. That's what I used to do in high school. I used to lose a ton of money. That's what I used to do in early college.
I used to lose a ton of money too. Honestly,
everyone does.
I have not become a good gambler until recently, until I've developed.
Everyone does. Yep.
Discipline is the one thing in life that is preventing everyone from obtaining their goals. If you want to lose 10 pounds, you can. You just have to stop eating and go to the gym. You know, it's not – if you want to be a better gambler, you have to stop betting parlays and bet more straight bets. That doesn't mean you have to stop – just because you want to lose 10 pounds doesn't mean you have to stop eating all junk food. Have a cheat day, you know, but you have to be disciplined about it, and consistency. Gambling, the reason why the sports books make so much money is because they know even if you win, you are going to put that money back in, likely more than your last bet. When in reality, the right way to gamble in terms of being consistent is to literally have every play the exact same amount of risk and to not increase or decrease your risk for anything. Now, that's not realistic. That's like robotic. We're not robots, we're humans. But if you want to really do this for real and you want to really see if you can do this and make money long term, you have to bet 1 to 1.5% every single time, no questions asked. I don't care if it's the best bet you've ever concocted in your entire life, 1.5% max. And the people that are giving out 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 unit bets, it's not realistic. It's not a long-term strategy. You might win once, not going to win twice, 3 times, 4 times. So that's really it. And that's a hard pill to swallow because it's not a magic pill. People just want to wake up and get winners spoon-fed to them, right? That's what Trent says a lot. But that's not realistic either. It's hard to win a bet. It's hard. Yeah. It's really freaking hard. We do it every day. And the amount of things that have to happen in order for that bet to hit, it's a lot. And fluke shit happens all the time. And you just have to throw it out and block it out and just stay consistent and stay disciplined. But you're right. 1 to 1.5 units. Like, I don't even remember the last time I risked more than 2 units on a single game. I've had some futures where I've done 3 units on that have been like season-long futures. But 3 units on one bet is like, I'm scared shitless for the bet. Like, I'm really scared.
100%. And I learned that the hard way over the past year. You know, I get so confident in a play. I get so excited. I'm like, I have an edge here. I got it all figured out. I know exactly what's going to happen. Almost like I've already seen it happen. I give it out to people. I gas it up. I text it to my friends. And every time I do that, it loses. And that's why I kind of tone that down, right? You go back to the 1 unit plays. Like you just said, you could not have said it better, Jared. Even if you love a play, it's your favorite play ever. You still bet at 1 unit, 1.5. That's how you show discipline.
1.5.
And that's how you win long term.
1.5.
That's how you win long term. 100%.
1.5 is a nice compromise.
Yep.
2 is also fair. I think when you're pushing it past 2 to 3 units, I just don't see the upside long term, because unless you have some fancy schmancy model that says this is twice as more likely than your average bet, it's really hard to give an actual analytical reason why this bet's worth 1 unit and this bet is worth 2.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Really, really tough to make that distinction. Really tough.
100%, Jared. And I know we could talk for literally hours about this stuff. You're so entertaining, Jared. I really appreciate you coming on here, my man. You get it. You get it, guys. Follow my man's on Twitter. What's your Twitter, Jared? Plug it real quick.
At Jared Lee Smith. Very easy.
At Jared Lee Smith, right there. Give my man a follow. Very entertaining and very educational as well. Jared, we will definitely do this again, my man. I really appreciate it. We do have to cut this off and hand it off to the GOAT, Trent, to run his surgical stream.
The GOAT.
Jared, always a pleasure. Isn't that crazy to say? The dude's an absolute sports entertainment.
Has he hit 100K on Twitter yet? We got to throw him a party or
close.
something.
He's close, but we got to shut it down, Jared. I appreciate you coming on. We'll do this again for sure, my man. Thanks again. All right, guys.